Hey, YouTube. Welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast YouTube channel. Chris and I just recorded a hot episode for the kids out there, Chris.
Hot
for the
pod.
statisticians.
I think that's what
We had a hot pod breakthrough. It
Mhm.
was episode number 77. And we had a little breakthrough, figured out we both do something that we had not told each other about before, and that's rare. So, Chris, why don't you tell the kids what we learned about each other?
Yeah. So what we're talking about is we call it kind of a hack because it's really for AdWords managers or business owners that are managing their own campaign to be able to easily access information across all of their ad groups together and kind of filter that information. So basically, here's how it works. Let's say you have a group of 16 or 1,600 ad groups. And what you would want to do is you essentially name the ad groups based on kind of a higher hierarchy level. Okay, so just a quick example, and then Jason can go into some better examples. But basically, you might have a group of local, a group of services, a group of type, and a group of let's say test or something like that. So you have 4 different hierarchy groups set up. And so you'll have local dash Dallas, local dash Houston, local dash, city name. The next one would be type. So if you're a dentist, it might be type dash
teeth whitening, sedation dentistry,
stuff like that. Right. So that's the idea. And the point is that you can search and just type the word type in there, and it shows you just the ones that are labeled type.
Right.
So what do you think, Jason? Did I explain it right? Are the people confused? Do you want to take a look at it? I think you'll understand it's a little more difficult to explain.
Yeah. Well, basically what we've done is we've basically taken the labels column, the labeling system in AdWords, and basically self-labeled. We've hacked the label idea. Chris and I, sometimes we use labels, sometimes we don't. Personally, Chris, I find them to get a little bit out of control. You have to add the column in there. If the columns get reset, you have to add it back in there. Once you start adding labels, they just seem to add up and get a little overwhelming. You forget what you call things. So I like to basically label by putting a word at the beginning of the ad group. And then if I want to access that data and see how a specific type of keyword group is doing over time in terms of click-through rate or cost per conversion or cost per click, and also see how that data changed over time, all I have to do is go into the ad groups, go to the little find ad groups thing, and filter with that label that I've put at the beginning of the name, the ad group name, and I can see how that data is doing. So one example here, Chris, is say you have multiple campaigns and you are trying out Spanish keywords. And in those Spanish keyword ad groups, instead of just writing whatever the word for dentist is in Spanish, and then whatever, you could have a local dentist campaign in Spanish. You have those names like local dentist in Spanish and then dentist, whatever the word is in Spanish. But at the beginning of them, you could write out Spanish, like so Spanish / whatever the word is for local dentist, Spanish / whatever the word is for dentist plus Dallas. And then if someone asks you or you want to know for yourself, hey, we thought about trying Spanish keywords, but our intake doesn't necessarily speak the best Spanish. How are our Spanish keywords doing? Are they cheaper? Is our cost per conversion good? All you have to do is go into that little find ad group search bar, Chris, and type in Spanish, and then you get all the data filtered there. And then you can save that filter and look it up in the future under your save filters anytime. And to me, Chris, that's just a lot easier than always using the label column, just because it's in the name. You can put it in there. You can edit it whenever you want. Mm-hmm. And I just like the way you have a lot more control. And then looking at your account, it just looks cleaner. Instead of having all these ad groups, it's just a nice little subset organized. Of labels. Yeah.
Yeah. And just Jason, I went in and okay, I just want to show. So here's what it would look like. Right. This is forgive any misspellings, but local dash Dallas, local dash Plano, type. Everything would be the first Is this backwards on the screen?
No, no, you're good. So,
Okay.
Chris, yeah, like if the client, or if you wanted to know yourself as the AdWords manager, like, hey, we always talk about on the Paid Search podcast, geo keywords, Dallas dentist, Plano dentist, dentist in Dallas. Geo keywords typically work best. Show me all my geo keywords and geo ad groups and performance, and let's put that to the test. All you would have to do is go in there and type in local, and you could compare your local ad group performance versus everything else in your campaign, Chris. You could also tell it, hey, you showed me ad groups with just local. Show me all ad groups that don't include local. And you could see how the cost per conversion and all that data shakes up for everything besides local.
So you talked about reporting, but also easily pause and enables sets of ad groups.
Oh, I got a good one for you, Chris.
Easily increase bids for sets of ad groups or lower bids, stuff like that. Jason, what are the things you need to do with it?
You're going to love this one. Say you break out the local data. It's doing awesome, but and it's doing so much so awesome, like it has a cost per conversion that's 50% less than your average. So your mindset as a manager is, wow, I need to max out my local searches. Guess what you want to do? You want to break them into their own campaign so you can max them out as much as possible. Chris, all you have to do, copy your campaign, paste it in the new campaign, filter to show you all ad groups besides local and pause them, and then go back to the original and filter to only show you local ad groups and pause them in there. So you've just created a clone, and it was super easy. You didn't have to kind of find anything because all you had to do was filter for your local, pause them on the old one, and then pause everything else in the new one. And now you have a new local only campaign.
Yeah.
I find myself doing that all the time.
Absolutely.
Because there's just a lot of benefits, we don't have to get into them, of having your best performing keyword types in their own campaign after you've determined what those are. And this is a great way to do it.
Yeah. So there it is. There's an easy AdWords naming hack for you to better manage and report and work through your AdWords campaigns without having to use the complicated labeling system. It's something that we do from the beginning of the AdWords build because we want our AdWords management to be easier. So that's basically the idea there. You want easier management and better results. And that's how the guys from the Paid Search podcast do it. So Jason, I'll take us out here. Thanks for watching, guys. You can always find us on our main podcast every week at paidsearchpodcast.com. We do YouTube channels with YouTube videos along with our podcast, so you can watch or listen. And we appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next time.